Well, welcome back to the world of Photoshop, and today we will take a look at replacing a background. The picture on the right is the original that we took on our blue screen over in room 6, and then over on the left is taking that same picture. There's Michaela there, and putting her on a new background, blue background. And so to do this, we are going to learn how to use two different tools. Primarily today, we will take a look at the Magic Eraser. And what the Magic Eraser allows us to do is to remove pixels that are of a similar color and to adjust the sensitivity of that eraser as far as its recognition of similar colors. And so that's what we're going to take a look at here today. And so this is a nice little technique in replacing the background, and then we've got a nice smooth blue background, a little gradient here that we could move on and do some other things with. Either we could put some other layers on this, or we could add some text. We could do whatever we want, but we have a nice picture to work with, and so it creates a real good foundation to build a real nice project. So step number one is that we need to get hold of the pictures that I've created for you. I've already gone ahead and resized the pictures, created the backgrounds, and matched the size of those backgrounds with the size of the image so that we could just focus on using the tools and not get tied down in trying to deal with images of different sizes. The first step is to navigate over to Drive B and have that open on one side of your screen, and then over on the other side, your ThoughtSpace, Drive E, where you've been putting all of your images. And then the folder you want to navigate to is Junior High, or JH, Blue Back Lesson. And so what you'll want to do is copy that entire folder over to your ThoughtSpace. And once you do that, then you can come on in there and take a look at those and see what we have. And so you'll have a folder of some blue backgrounds, and you have some blue images that were selected from that photo shoot that we did the other day. So pause the video if you need to, get some help if necessary, and we'll get those copied over to your computer, and then start up Photoshop, and we will go to work. So here is another before and after that we can take a look at. We've got the Friends original on the right side, and then here's a partially completed image with the new background. And in this particular one, the real challenge here is going to be the hair. Now, Nadine's hair is going to be pretty easy because it's there's a quick cutoff between the background and her hair, whereas over here with Emily's, you can see a lot of the background showing through some of the hair here, and then it'll be a little difficult over here. And so what we'll end up doing actually is removing some of that hair just to make our life a little bit easier. It's going to be a little, right here you can tell, well, you can tell where I've removed hair. Here, so you don't see it anymore, because rather than trying to get rid of all those little pieces of background, I just went ahead and said, well, we're just going to change her hairstyle just a little bit. Hopefully she doesn't mind too much. As long as we don't do too much, I think we'll be okay. And we also did that over here with JC. You can see that these pieces of hair here have been removed. So here's what we do to get started. Open up a background over on your ThoughtSpace. So we got blue backs, and I'm going to go ahead and take that one right there. Well, let's try this one. We'll try slide 3 and see how that works out. And I'll lock that onto there. And then I will open up an image, one of the blue images, and I think just to make this demo just a little bit easier to deal with, well, I'll go ahead and take that same picture and show you how we deal with that challenge of that hair. It takes a little bit more work. So try to get to that point there, and then we'll move on. Ready to place our image on top of a background. So the next step is to make sure you're on the Move tool. Now notice what that Move tool looks like. And notice that if you grab just the banner here, that it's just a white arrow. That's not the move tool. We need to point to the actual picture. Now it looks like a move tool. You see? Similarities there? So now we are actually ready to move. And so we can click anywhere on this image, click on the left button, hold, and carefully drag it over. And then we can put that one away, minimize it. And then we can drag this image right over the top. We will not worry about resizing it at this point because we want to focus on using these eraser tools, the regular eraser tool and the magic eraser tool, and just get right to work. So try to get to this point right here. We've got our image on top of a background, and we have not resized. If at any time you need to undo something, you will notice that we have the history button right here. And that history button remembers about 20 different commands. And so there is our background. We've opened it, we drug the layer, and then we moved that layer. And so at any point we can go forward and backwards through time to either undo or to redo some commands. So that history is going to be your best friend. Just make sure you get to it soon enough. But like I said, it only remembers about 20 commands. Next up, we want to take a look at the Magic Eraser and what the Magic Eraser does. So you go to the same tool that you used in the previous lesson for the eraser, right-click, this time look for Magic Eraser. And with Magic Eraser, we need to take a look at some commands here. Yours probably says 32 for a tolerance here. And that refers to the sensitivity of the magic of the eraser. And so what happens is if you have a tolerance of 32 and you click on this background, it's going to grab anything that is close to the same color that you clicked on. So in this case, I clicked on a blue and it erased a lot of other blues. Grab some of these pinks and they disappear. If you change the tolerance, let's drop it down to about 10, you'll notice that it's not quite as sensitive. There it is. It doesn't erase as much. So that's how you control the sensitivity of the Magic Eraser. As you move in close to your subjects, you want to be careful, and so you probably are going to want to do something like that. Keep that sensitivity lower, or that tolerance. If you raise it up too high, and then you come in, you're going to end up doing something like this. It's not the effect you want to have. Nope. So, once again, how do we undo that? Let's go to our history and step backwards. And actually, I think I'm okay with that one there, but I want to lower this back down to, I think I was at 10. And that's at that lower tolerance is where you would use it in close with your subject. Oops, not like that. But the first step is to go ahead and keep it high. Let's keep that thing at about 32 and get rid of all of this big chunks of background that we just don't want. Paying particular attention, just being careful to make sure we don't take out subject matter that we want to keep. Alright, now once you get to a point about like this, then we can go back to our regular eraser tool, set that opacity to 100%, get ourselves a pretty hard brush, and then just scrub out, resize that brush, the eraser, using our brackets, and just get rid of all these big artifacts of old background. Just get rid of that as much as you can without affecting our good subjects here. Don't want to do that. Yeah, we can click a little bit in here, being real careful. Get rid of as much of it as we can. And if you want, you can also zoom in the letter Z so you can see some of this, because you can see it's real easy to miss some of these pieces here. Letter E to get back to the eraser and scrub out all that junk. We don't want that. There it is. And that allows us to move in a little bit closer to our subject. Now here's where we had that challenge. See, I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that, some of that hair right there, and make my life a little bit easier. Just don't tell Emily that I did that. There we go. Rolling that mouse. Here's something easy to get rid of right there. Scrub, scrub, scrub. I'm not going to worry too much about that because I'm going to go in. That's a little coarse. But anyway, just kind of get the outline. There's something hiding there. You get the idea. Now, once you've gotten rid of all of that, and I'm just doing a real quick job here of this, is that you can then get yourself a softer brush. And I'm still using just the standard eraser now. I'm back to what we were doing in that previous lesson. So I'm going to soften up that brush and lower that opacity down to about 50. And then I'm going to carefully come in here and just try to fade her hair into the background. And I'm trying to go kind of fast here. You'll probably want to take a little bit more time. This is a little bit rough, but you'll get the idea. So I'm going to do something like that, and then you'll see when you zoom that out, it's not perfect, but it's not too bad once we're away from there. And so that's the kind of effect that you're going to have to work on. And like right in here, you're going to have to spend some time right there to get rid of something like that. But it just takes a little patience, some practice, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. So when you come into a spot like this, it's going to get just a little bit, shall we say, dangerous. And it might be real easy to make some mistakes, not like the results. And so what I would recommend you do, now you always have the history button to go back to, but what you could simply do is make a copy. And see, I've already got one there for myself, but what you could do is just simply image duplicate. And so you're actually making a duplicate of a Photoshop document at this point because we have multiple layers. We've got that background, and there is our layer. Background, layer. So there you go. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Practice, practice, practice. Ask any questions that you have. Repeat any part of this video that you must. But above all else, have fun. Photoshop is a magic program. It does a lot of things, but it does require some time, patience, and practice, and a program that you're going to have fun using throughout high school.